press record, but is it? Oh, it is, okay. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Jollymun Podcast. This is episode 43 on the 8th of April. I'm aware and sort of slightly hiding from the fact that the podcast hasn't been uploaded since the 8th of February, but it wasn't exactly a time of mass motivation from me, and I apologise to my 3 listeners. However, as you can tell, today's been you can't tell yet, but I mean, my laptop is on its way out. It's unbelievable. All I wanted to check was what episode of the podcast we were on now, so that on my little intro, I could say episode 43. It's the little things that I think make up a really wonderful and ever improving podcast. Anyway, and it took me 10 minutes. It took me like 6 minutes for Google to respond to me and be aware that I'd put in a polite and uncapitalized request. But hey, it's a shame. And also when I play games with my friends on my laptop now, it sort of starts huffing and puffing, and I have to say to them, "Oh dear," and that the game becomes much harder to play due to just the general kind of fragility of it. But it's kind of got this. It reminds me of the same feeling I get when somebody gifts me something which has batteries, because batteries make me I get this like kind of sinking, like a dread kind of within my chest, within my head, within my arms, and I've had it since I was a kid. Just batteries just make me. I think they just kind of they were such like the manifestation of kind of temporariness, and the fact that I'm a little battery in that, one day my machine's going to stop whirring, and then the batteries are going to, they're useless. They get put in the bin and they get, sent away. That just kind of freaks me out, batteries. Anyway, but yeah, it's the same feeling when I'm like, oh my god, my laptop's going to go. There's nothing I can do. It's just dying. It's just the fact of existence. In the same way, I kind of imagine that when I get old, I'm gonna start feeling. Or maybe I'll find it too funny when I'm old that that it'll be happening. I don't know. Maybe my goodwill won't last. But I can imagine myself kind of cracking up at me for kind of like not being able to move my hip. And when I finally managed to move my hip after kind of trying for about 30 seconds, I'd like fart or something. And I can kind of see myself pinning my fear of death into kind of humor and just kind of laughing at it. Even if I am on my own in my kind of care home or something like that, I think I'm going to be alright. Yeah, and even then, it's been 3 months since I have uploaded a podcast, but let's be honest here, that 3 months weren't not a lot. It's almost as if I could have gone to bed that day, woken up now, and done a podcast, and I wouldn't be any richer in personality or experience. So, I've got a few things to say, but nothing all that much. I've been listening to a lot of music with my CDs recently. It's great. I've really enjoyed that. So I cycled down to East London Brick Lanes yesterday to look for some CDs. Go around a couple record shops, and I was cycling, and then there was this little dimple in the road. That's like you'd call it like a depressed section. Only brief. Anyway, I cycled, and then I went down and up, and down out the hole and up. It wasn't a hole. It was smooth, so it wasn't like jangly. It was just kind of like whoop. And then my chain came off, and I thought, oh, for crying out loud. And then my chain, not only does it come off on my bike, but it gets stuck between the cog and something else, so you have to like really yank it out. And I ended up with sort of really black and greasy, oily hands. That's okay, I can handle that. I was a bit annoyed. My handlebars are already black, so it wasn't gonna leave a mark. So I had these really horrible hands, and then I ended up going to the CD shop, and I had used the anti-back seriously 4 times, and that's a double press each time, hoping that it will kind of like, I don't know, take the oil and blackness off my hands, and I kind of like shake it onto the floor or something like that. I must have looked like a guy who just seriously had a hard perspective against bacteria, because they must have just seen me going back to the anti-back and back to the anti-back. They must have thought I was some kind of pathogen destroyer or something like that. But I still got I got one new CD which I bought. I didn't steal it. It was a Bob Dylan CD. It was one of the few that, well, I'm missing quite a few, but it's a significant one that I was missing and desiring, which is a good way. It's a good day. It's a good day. It's simple. Yeah. I mean, and that's only possible because the shops are back. The first day, it's so strange. You sort of walk into the shop, and people are just excited to like have experience again, and kind of being able to choose. Oh, do I like that top? No, I don't like that top. Even if you go into a top and go into a shop and look at tops, and you look at 50 tops, and you think, I don't really like any of them. They're still like, I'm pretty sure we still live off that kind of, oh yeah man, I just made a decision on what I think is right for me. Like, we still kind of get a little kick out of that. Like, oh no, that shirt wasn't right for me. And even though we didn't buy it or have a positive effect or interaction with the shirt, we still feel like we've exercised a little bit of like our life and choice, which is fair enough, because otherwise, you look at the shirt, you decide not to buy it, you feel all mighty and powerful, and then you sit at a bus stop and wait 20 minutes for a large red object to come and pick you up by a mute, usually a man behind the box, not saying anything, and you just beep and then you sit down. And then the big red box transitions you back to your other box where you have paid or are paying a rate to be able to lay a soft box in the corner of one of the smaller boxes inside the once big box to rest your head. And that's just the way the world is. And that's cool. A lot of boxes. I do find that kind of strange. Obviously, it kind of makes sense from like a structural, like a almost logistical and engineering perspective that rooms are cubic. But I think it'd be so cool if you had like a really odd room where the ceiling was kind of undulating and go like all smooth and weird and bumpy. Not like that weird kind of that bumpiness where it's like they just got put like muesli in the paint. That kind of textured wall. I think it's horrible. It's like they poured a load of Jordans. They wouldn't use Jordans muesli because that's quite expensive. They use a Tesco Everyday Value, 90% sugar, good for your gut muesli. Yeah, don't like that. But I think it'd be cool to have a room with like a weird lump in the ceiling, and it just comes down. And you just have to try not to hit your head on it, and it's pink as well, and the walls are blue. I think it'd be cool. Maybe once my podcast once I get £100 million Spotify deal with my podcast like Joe Rogan did, then I'll be able to put a pink lump upon my ceiling. Pink lump upon words. Man. So, but doing that cycling to and from places, which is what I've been doing more recently. Man, it's really, there's just like, if you're in a blue cycle lane or just like a well, like differentiated cycle lane where you feel safe and you're cycling down quite a main road, and you're behind somebody else who's doing it, and you're both just cycling, and you don't even know the person. It's just like the random person who's also cycling. It just feels so like so right. Not like, it's just like we are both going somewhere with our own little legs. We're both pedaling, but neither of us are releasing, like, we're not burning, incinerating kind of these oils. We're just traveling. I know, it's really cool. It made me feel really nice. I felt a bliss. It only lasted 3 seconds because then then I got overtaken by a woman on a electric bike, and I felt a little bit dissatisfied at the whole experience. I cannot quench either my insecurity or competitiveness. I think they kind of come hand in hand a lot of the time. But I wasn't too pleased. Only because she was hardly even pedaling. I know Uber bikes don't accelerate if you're not pedaling, like the motor's not on. But still, I mean, she really must have been at the minimum threshold for the electric motor to just really give her a kick. Because she's hardly pedaling. I don't mind. It's okay. It's fine. It did and then it's fine. But you do sort of find yourself, I'm thinking, okay, cool. Well, I actually own my bike, and my bike, I care for it. I put oil on the chain. I troubleshoot. She just rents this bike. She doesn't even care about it, and she's paying an average. It's not an average, sorry, and like an hourly wage for this bike. She's paying per minute to cycle that. I'm not. So actually, it's fine. She can overtake me. That's all right. She's the one losing both financially and spiritually the connection with the bike. So it's a shame for her, really. She's suffering, and that's how I allow myself to be overtaken. He does kind of shatter. Yeah, it's kind of cool though. When you got like 5 bikes going down a bike lane, you feel like you're in a train. I thought it was quite fun. Anyway, enough simple talk about trains. The one thing that was really fun about lockdown is that I had to do a lot of the cooking, and you realise there's so many little things that you can do. I've got really. When I look at an onion now, it's for me, it's just a world of opportunity. It's just like a Pandora's box. When I open this onion up and reveal its more edible layers, they're not. I don't really see them being that edible either, because they make you cry and you can't eat them raw, but you kind of cook them and they're fine. But anyway, then I could cut, if I wanted to put it in a sausage and mash thing, I'd probably cut it this way. If I wanted to make a bolognese, I'd do it this way. If I wanted to make stew, I'd do it this way. And it's so cool. So many opportunities. But I suppose that's just because I had not many other prospects outside my little box that I live in. They were just sort of there, I suppose. A little bit. I still work at the pub. That's still damn fun. People come in and they're so excited to be at the pub. I mean, it's amazing how, I suppose it's a good thing that people don't take things for granted, but the elation, like you could put okay, and we're going to do an allegory here. Imagine this, what the chaffinch, or let's do a koala bear that I'm talking about is actually a person. You could put a koala bear in a submarine with no lights and just submarine, and you put him all the way down 5,000 meters below. And it's completely black. There's nothing in the in the submarine, and the whole time he could have a headset on, and it's somebody going, "Yeah, that's what you get for being a koala. You're so bad, and you deserve all this. You should hate yourself. Sit in the submarine and really suffer." And they could say that to him for a month, and they could know. Let's say it's me who's saying it, and they know it's me who's saying it because they see me and they recognise my voice. The koala does, and you come up to the surface. And I retrieve my koala. I press the up button, and it kind of gets pushed upwards. Meanwhile, I'm saying, "Yeah, well, I'm gonna finally be so kind to let you out, Mr. Koala Bear." And then you open the koala bear's box, the submarine, the air vac, seal thing. And then I could give the koala a tiny chunk of cheese, and it would be like, "Oh my god, wow!" I mean, This was such a great experience. I mean, this man is so kind. How can he bestow upon me curdled milk? I'm pretty sure that's how people are out of lockdown a little bit. In a way, they're just so they're just glad to be able to have a pint, and it kind of negates what they've experienced in the past. They're just like, "I can have a pint now, so it doesn't matter that I've had kind of a year of." Maybe some people experience misery. Anyway, it's just rather amazing, the ability to kind of just keep there's a pint of beer in front of me which I paid for at a very high price due to the struggling pubs. Oh, here's some chips that I also am overcharged for, but I've got chips now. People feel good. It's nice. It's friendly, and I suppose that's how we get through things. Anyway, I mean, I'm kind of coming to the end of this podcast. I suppose I could, let me look in my little notebook here, and I'll read you something that I've written. Something simple. What have I got here? Nope, these are all to-do lists. Oh, here we are. This is one I quite like. The bird was released from its ropes and chains. I said that wrong. The bird was released from its ropes and chains. The hardcore bondage session was over. It peered over at the gimp-suited pigeon perched upon 3 purple eggs. The urban pigeon, a public nuisance but a great fuck. Finally, the prostituted blue-titted blue tit unclipped its nipple clamps and took off for the next job. That's kind of I found that one quite funny when I wrote it, but hey. There we are. I tend not to. I don't really feel enticed by the idea of sexual comedy, but I think that one's far enough away from kind of dick jokes that it's funny. It can stand alone from those ideas. Anyway, people, thank you very much for joining me. We're going to be consistent now. I've written a to-do list for May, so we're going to have podcasts regularly. Thank you very much, and may you all have a lovely rest of your day. Or 2 of you.